dear friends, our agenda or draft agenda is here. This is the 26th meeting of UBI advocates and UBI networks. But beginning of, by the beginning of this year, we changed the timing formula. The second Tuesdays of each month at GMT 14:30 is the first meeting of the month, and fourth Tuesdays of each month at GMT 8 a.m. is the second meeting of each month. So this is the fourth Tuesday, and we are here. We would like to hear more contributions or different contributions from different time zones. That was the main reason why we changed the timing formula. So when we come to draft agenda, okay, I will go directly to item 2 because item 1 is reading the agenda and compiling additional agenda items, if any. So our guest is today our dear friend An Hyo-shang from South Korea, and his topic will be UBI movement in South Korea. And then we will hear news from working groups, if any, and also news from UBI advocates and UBI networks, if any. So this is the draft agenda. Do you have any proposals or any additional items, modification proposals? If you do have, please mention now. Okay, so can I consider that agenda is accepted? I'm trying to see the, okay, I consider that it's accepted. So, 1 second. So, word is yours, Hyo-sang. I'm muting myself too.
Hello, can you hear me now? This is Eriko.
Eriko, yes, you are welcome. Now it's functioning.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Eriko.
Dear Hyo-sang, please, we are listening to you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Eriko.
Yes.
Okay. Now it's working only, but no camera, this computer.
Okay.
Now, I should give my presentation.
Please, Hyo-sang, we are following you.
I'm going to share my screen, okay? Can you see this? Can you see the PowerPoint? Yeah, okay. Oh, hello, basic income plans worldwide. I'm Hyo-sang An, Executive Director of Basic Income Korean Network. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak about the situation around the basic income in South Korea. I'll give you a short presentation as you see. Yeah. The title of my presentation is Basic Income Movement in South Korea. And then rising of basic income in Korea. It was around 2016 to 17 when basic income first began to gain traction in South Korea with the fear of rising unemployment from disruptive technology encapsulated by AlphaGo, the news about the Finnish basic income experiment and the Swiss referendum, and 16th BN Congress held in Seoul, as well as Seongnam Youth Dividend Program implemented early that year at home. These all led to greater interest and support for basic income. Next. Discussions and debate during the presidential campaign 2017. As you know, we saw the mass revolt against the government, so-called the candlelight revolution, starting in the autumn of 2016, culminating in the impeachment of president, and we had a snap presidential election 2017 March, where many candidates unveiled policies that they branded basic income. But it must be said that the policies proposed were far from. But only one genuine basic income policy electoral promises is Governor Lee's proposal. But with the election of the current president, Moon Jae-in, in 2017, and his adoption of the so-called inclusive income-led growth, it seemed as if basic income would once again be sidelined from the mainstream political discourse. But the ember of basic income was kept alive with the introduction of Gyeonggi Youth Basic Income Program. With his victory in the 2018 local election, Governor Lee Jae-myung expanded the Seongnam Youth Dividend Program, which he implemented during his time as a mayor, to the province as a whole under the title Youth Based Income. Parallel to the implementation was the ongoing debates on basic income between academics, policymakers, and civic activities. Next. It's about Gyeonggi Youth Basic Income. It is payment to the age group of 24. Total number is about 170,000. Form of local currency used at small businesses, implemented through an ordinance of local assembly, and I think it plays a role of catalyst for spreading basic income nationwide. And then emergency basic income during the corona pandemic. As with other countries, basic income gaining prominence with the pandemic. From late February, many people, including Basic Income Korean Network, began to raise the need for a disaster. We called it disaster basic income. We began to raise the need for disaster basic income. In March, Gyeonggi province announced that it will provide 100,000 Korean won per person to all the residents of the province. The central government followed in providing a corona disaster relief fund, but this fund was only given to the bottom 70% of the income bracket. Corona disaster relief fund, but central government responded to the claim, giving all president in May, though based on the size of household. Corona disaster relief fund and Gyeonggi corona disaster basic income reignite the familiar debate of means tested. Oh, sorry. Next slide. Before the progress, I'll give you some explanation of the history of welfare state in South Korea. It was not until the 20s that South Korea, which many scholars classified as a developmental state, began to establish a framework for a welfare state, resulting in the creation of a universal social insurance system, National Basic Livelihood Security Act, and other welfare provisions. But excluding health insurance, these welfare provisions suffer from low coverage and a myriad of loopholes. These deficiencies were only exacerbated by neoliberal policies and disruptive technology, which began to drive the growing demand for a new welfare system in the last decade. Next. We called it the debate on selectivism versus universalism. Under these circumstances, preschool meals were introduced in 2010, sparking fierce debate in the 2012 presidential election. The ruling Conservative Party candidate pledged to introduce a universal basic pension, though his promise was watered down to cover the bottom 70% of the income bracket. Given this development, the supporters of basic income call for disaster basic income of the same amount to given to all, whereas the current administration and the more traditionally minded proponents of welfare states called for means-tested provision of the relief fund. But the problem is means-tested provision is that it is almost impossible to distinguish and target the bottom 70% of the income bracket, given the existing tax and administrative system in South Korea. Case in point, when child benefits were first introduced in 2018, it was designed to be limited to the bottom 90% of the income bracket. However, it was judged that the administrative cost of screening the applicants was too high and changed to universal provision. Yeah. So, next, I'm going to speak about the first disaster relief fund. The government and the ruling party, I think the centrist liberal force forced to accept the claim for universal payment before general election in last April. It was the first time in Korean history where the state provided direct cash payment to its citizens. The universal provision of the disaster relief fund and or disaster-based income affirmed in people's minds the raison d'etre of the nation state and the social solidarity. This experience, along with the infection prevention measures, seems to raise the need for a new social contract. With the corona pandemic, there was a need to reopen the discussion on the role of the state on how economic activities should be conducted on the rights and freedoms of citizens, with basic income acting as a catalyst. Political combat. But even as the support for basic income rose, so did the opposition, beginning with the traditionally minded welfare statists, the ruling party's think tank, state-run research institutes, and the ruling party's political heavyweights began to weigh in against the idea of basic income. Though they do not deny the need for a new welfare system, they emphasize the need for supplementing and reforming the existing system instead of focusing on untested and unconventional policy like basic income. In response, the supporters of basic income, excluding the key members of Korean network, stressed that basic income is a right to everyone's share of the commonwealth. Furthermore, we argue that basic income is an essential tool for social and ecological transformations needed to avert the multiple crises of ecology, economics, and social reproduction that we face today. Another reason for the heightened interest around basic income is due to the presidential election scheduled for March next year. At the moment, the front runner of the race is Governor Lee Jae-myung, who made basic income his flagship policy. Though Governor Lee began as the underdog among the candidates within the ruling Democratic Party, his work as the governor of Gyeonggi province and his deft handling of the pandemic in providing disaster basic income and implementing effective prevention measures saw him rise to the front-runner status in the recent polls. Such are the presidential hopefuls within and without the ruling party began to turn their fire on Governor Lee and voice their opposition to basic income. Basic income, it's my final slide. Basic Income Network Korea has been working on a program of comprehensive strategy for social reforms under the title social and ecological transformations and base income with eyes on the 2022 presidential election. The program will be completed by this summer and will support the candidate adopting this program. In parallel to this effort, we plan to launch a wide-ranging social movement to not only elect candidates who support basic income into office, but also to build a social basis to see basic income implemented in all its potential. Thank you for listening, and yes, thank you.
Dear Hyosang, thank you very much for your interesting presentation. As we discussed before the meeting, South Korea is the country where the basic income discussions is the hottest, I guess. Can we stop sharing so that we can hear contributions from our friends or questions? Dear friends, would you like to ask any questions or contribute to the presentation of our dear friend Hyosang? Dear Klaus, please.
Hello. I'd just like to ask Hyosang how you're looking to support the individual politicians. As it turns out, Australia is in a very similar position with an election due around that time also.
Dear Hyosang, is the question clear enough? Or maybe Paul, would you please clarify your question a little bit more?
Yes. I'll just turn my video on too. Yeah. Hyosang, yeah, thank you very much for that. I'm wondering what your plan is in order to help the individual politicians with the election coming up. In Australia, we also have an election at that same time, roughly.
To be honest, Basic Income Network as a group organization wholly supported any individual politician or candidate, but we just present our aim or strategy in the public, and we will support those who adopt our policy and our strategy. But I'm in the present, I'm not sure who will adopt our policy or our strategy. But I think consideration of the political schedule, I think it will be clear in September or October.
Yeah, thank you. It's sort of difficult because I'm also finding it difficult to decide exactly how we're going to do it. So I was hopeful that anyway, we've got the same problem, I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Hyosang. Dear Klaus, you had a contribution, I guess. Please.
Yes, I wanted to ask if I have right understood that the elected candidates who support basic income, taking it into force 2022, is that what you meant, that you will support such candidates which take into account this aim?
Considering the political atmosphere is very tricky questions because as I talk to you, the front runner of the race, Governor Lee, who is, I think, a genuine supporter of base income, but he's an underdog in his party. So I'm not sure he will get a presidential ticket in the election. So as for Basic Income Korean Network, now what we can do is just wait. The time is time flow. As I said earlier, we wait for a few months to see the situation is more clear.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear Hyo-sang. Dear friends, do you have any other questions? I cannot see. Sabine, please.
And how do you get financed your campaign?
Basic Income Korean Network have 700 paid member. So we raise the fund campaign among members, and we also worked for the research, which is commissioned from the Public Research Institute.
Okay, thank you. And you were talking about that you get it into the public, but how you are doing this? I mean, are you doing it with papers, newspapers, or are you going to the television? Or are you having podcasts and radio interviews? What are you doing for that? I mean, you are doing a lot. I'm always really astonished by how you're doing it.
We use all kind of things you mentioned. We appear on the TV talk show, and we regularly contribute to the progressive newspaper online, and we also publish our own quarterly called Basic Income, and also we also use social media and so on.
Yeah, thank you. That's all, Ali. I don't know anything
Thank you.
right now.
Thank you. Any other contributions, dear friends? If not, I have few questions. May I? Dear Hyo-sang, my first question is about the local currency, which you used in the municipal level. It is something like in the holiday villages, they give some local currencies to spend within the holiday village. It's something like this. Am I correct? I mean, you cannot use it out of the municipal zone, or that's specific municipal zone. That's my first question. Second question, do you think universal basic income is something possible at municipal level? I mean, we are calling it basic income, but I think it's not. The reason is that at municipal level, they don't have legislation power, so they cannot change the taxation rules. They cannot introduce some custom rules or custom regulations, that kind of stuff. So it's not, I think, technically possible to do something in a municipal level. It should be a governmental level, because there should be a governing body. That's my second issue. In fact, I have some more questions, but maybe after my friends. And third issue is, in the municipal level, when they distribute the money, do they distribute to the residents or people who are working in that area too? Because especially in Turkey, let's say we have a municipality A, there are certain people who are resident in A, but certain people who do work in A, and they come from B to that area. And some of the people who are resident in A, also they go to another municipality to work, to C, let's say. So My point is, what is the criteria? Residency, or whether they are working there, or both? So, and maybe one more question. I have a few more, but one more. Your network, do you have a legal entity, or it's like a platform? I mean, do you have a legal status as a network? This is the fourth question from me. Thank you.
As per your first question, local currency used within the municipal or city, and in Gyeonggi, there are 31 cities and county, and each city or county has its own local currency. Okay. Yeah, and the second question, some members of Basic Income Current Network have pinched the local basic income and national basic income and the relation of the two. We think the basic income should be implemented in central countrywide, but province or municipal could implement their own basic income scheme, but I think it's very limited. Okay. And third question is very simple. As per now, the Gyeonggi basic income, Gyeonggi youth basic income is paid to the based on the residency, not working.
Thank you, Hasan. And you have a legal status of your network, or it's a platform? Your basic income network in South Korea, is it a registered society with a legal status?
Yeah, okay, legal status.
Okay. Any other questions, dear friends? Oh, Shobana.
Thank you, Ali. Actually, I just wanted to get more information on temporary basic income. You spoke about 100,000 won for individual. So if there are 5 individuals in a house, 500,000. So was it already sanctioned? It was distributed in May, or if, many times it was given, or only once? That's it. Thank you.
Local government have no power to tax, so their budget is very limited. So the Gyeonggi province give disaster basic income to all its residents one time last year, but 2 weeks ago, the Gyeonggi province, because the year is changed, we have new year, so Gyeonggi province announced the second disaster based income, announced that they give second basic income to its residents in March, in coming March.
So thank you. One more question, addition to this. In what way they try to fund this temporary basic income, this COVID? Whether they have diverted the money of some other welfare program, or they cancelled any other investment, or the saving which was not invested during this COVID time. So
I'm sorry, Shabana. I cannot understand what you said.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, pardon me, I'll repeat. See, what is the source of funding for this 100,000 won for each individual? Because whether it was diverted from some other welfare policy or it's a saving which was not spent during this COVID time
Yeah.
by the government.
In case of Gyeonggi province, the funding disaster-based income is from the saving in their budget, but in case of central government, the disaster relief fund is made from the national debt.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Hyosang. Dear friends, any other questions or contributions? I cannot see at the moment. Dear Hyosang, can I have a few more questions? Regarding the local currency issue, as far as I read, people can spend this only with shops who do have local ownership. I mean, it's a franchise of, let's say, like McDonald's, something like this. They cannot spend there. Am I correct? And secondly, assume that I am a shop owner and I am selling some goods in my shop and people buy from me with this local currency. Is there a conversion rate? For example, I have to buy, let's say I am selling shoes. I earn local currency, but I have to buy the shoes, let's say, from another country or another city. So I have to pay, I cannot pay in local currency. How do they convert the money? Is there a conversion rate? I mean, it's like a new additional currency in the currency exchange offices. I couldn't get it because as a shop owner, I can earn too many local currencies, but I cannot buy anything with them.
Local currency is the form of the kind of credit card. So you accept if I am a shop owner, I accept the local currency, but it goes to my account in bank. So local currency and legal tender is converted.
Okay, so you can use it as a real currency in some other municipality, this money.
Yeah.
As a shop owner, but not as an individual.
Yeah. Okay.
Individuals has to spend there,
yeah,
but the shop owners can spend in another municipality.
Oh, yes.
Interesting. Any other questions, dear friends? I have a few more in my mind, but dear Sabine, please. Sabine? We cannot hear. Dear Sabine, there's a problem, I guess. We cannot hear you.
Strange. Okay.
Now it's better. Yes, now it's better. No. We cannot hear you, dear Sabine. Okay. Any other friends who would like to ask any question or contribute to dear Hyosang's presentation? Dear Maya,
Yes.
Ian,
Just
Paul, please.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to know if on a national level, whether there's any talk about substituting the UBI and having labour market reform. For example, is there any discussion about abolishing the minimum wage?
raising the minimum wage is a very hot issue at the start of the current government. It was the 2017. So we saw sharply. We have seen the sharply rise in minimum wage because the central government sought that policy to lead the inclusive income-led income-led growth, but after the COVID pandemic, so minimum wage, the rise in minimum wage, fight for the minimum wage, rising the minimum wage is sidelined, and then the universal relief fund or universal basic income is the rise to the center of policy table. But we have not seen the minimum wage and basic income is contradictory.
Just to clarify, I'm just wondering if there's any discussion about getting rid of the minimum wage, of making the minimum wage zero and putting in a universal basic income instead. So, and then people saying, okay, now we don't need the minimum wage at all.
Oh, in Korea, there have no debate on the contradictory character of the minimum wage and universal basic income. But some people proposed raise in minimum wage and reduction of working time, and universal basic income is a kind of policy mix. But we don't think, and we have not seen the debate on the trade-off of minimum wage and basic income.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear friend. I guess there is no more questions. Maybe Eriko, Furi, Ömer, Anthony, Ayan, Maya, would you like to say anything, dear friends? Dear Eriko?
Did you call me?
Yes. Would you like to say anything, ask or contribute? Please, we would like to hear all friends.
Oh, I don't know. I just thought perhaps Japan, we have a very similar story. Do you hear me well? Maybe not.
Yes,
do you hear me?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. And the just a difference between Japan and Korea. Maybe in Japan, people who are at the bottom, for whom we think UBI is necessary, they are against UBI because they fear they might lose country existing welfare services. So not like Korea. So I wonder if you have the similar story in Korea. People, the reason why people don't want to accept UBI in Korea. I hope you understand my English.
No, very clear, I guess. Dear Hyo-san, please. Hyo-san, you are muted.
Sorry, I can hear from Eriko. Please repeat your question again.
Okay, there are some of There are people who are against UBI in Korea. Some people. I want to know the reason why they are against.
As with other countries, those who oppose the basic income is based on, I think, two reasons. One is the money, funding funding issue, and the other is the work ethics, so-called something for nothing.
First one is funding issue. The other one is work.
Yeah, funding. Because they think basic income is required to have huge money, huge budget.
Oh, I see. You mean the where the money comes from, like that. I think it's similar in Japan too. What do we do about finance? That's many academics, UBI advocate. They talk about, yes, we can, like national debt. You said, yeah, that kind sovereign money. So, but I don't know why government or politician don't want to hear that.
In South Korea, the basic income advocates have long time researched about the financing the basic income. As you said, sovereign money and the reform the welfare system and raise tax raising and tax reform, and we think the basic income is implemented through the build up the common fund and common dividend.
Okay.
Defense, may I say a few things about Eriko's question? First thing I would like to say is that politicians are not happy with a concept like UBI because they don't want people to emancipate. And secondly, I think the biggest obstacle against the implementation of UBI is if separation of powers is not fully implemented in a country, then people will not agree for an UBI. Because legislation power, judicial power, and executive power, they should be quite separate so that there should not be any conflict of interest, so that it will be more acceptable for this country. For example, in many countries, the legislation power and the execution power are in the same hands. I mean, political parties are after it. For example, in the parliamentary regimes, is also it's a kind of soft separation of powers. So soft separation of powers do not give the full positive contribution of a full separation of powers. So, I mean, some of the parliaments are both being a member of the cabinet, but at the same time being a part of the legislation. So they vote for the law, and also they execute in accordance with this law. So it is not that good. Secondly, I think the amount of money is not important at the beginning. What I mean is that, I mean, how to finance it, it's a big question, huge discussion should be done. But I think the most important thing is the mechanism. So we should, in a country, there should be a mechanism how UBI will work. Maybe you can say $1 per month. It's not a big problem. And it can be financed. But you should have a very well designed mechanism. Then when the mechanism is in there, it may start with small money, but it will give the power, or it will give the chance to the society to be a part of the system. So they will feel that they are a citizen. They will feel that they are like a partner of the government or partner of the state. So they will be following all kind of corruptions or meaningless expenditures, etc., etc. And this will lead to an increase in the amounts. The amounts may increase within time, no problem, my thought. But the mechanism is very, very important. Once the mechanism is there, it will give the chance to increase the amount, because mechanism by itself is going to lead to some savings first, and also within this environment, maybe the economy will become bigger, and people. I mean, I don't want to talk too much, but my thought is there should be a mechanism, and with a minimum number, it's not that big problem at the beginning, but in the future, the mechanism will lead to an increase in these amounts in the future. So I don't know if you kindly contribute about this issue, whether the money is important or the mechanism is important. I would be very happy to hear your thoughts about this issue. Thank you.
Can I say something on this? Ali?
Please, please. Yeah, we would like to hear. I mean, I personally would like to hear.
I think it's a very interesting question, because to me, if you just implement or add in the UBI, then it's a left-wing issue, I think. But if you add it in and you say that we're going to take away the minimum wage, then you can have universal support. Because the right-wing people will say, well, that's good for our business. More business owners will be getting it too. Plus, we will have labour market deregulation. So that becomes a universal issue. So to me, I see what you're saying. If we just add it in a little bit, and at least we have the mechanism there. But to me, you're unlikely to get support for that from the right.
Thank you, dear Paul. Dear Hyo-sang, would you like to say anything about the mechanism versus the amount?
Oh, no.
Thank you, dear Klaus, please.
Yeah.
Now I am saying my personal opinion. Yes, if you compare what is more important, the question of money or the mechanism, and then to start perhaps with little money and come higher if the mechanism is given from time to time. But I am of the opinion it must immediately an unconditional basic income high enough. Otherwise, if you start with lower, then as it is introduced, and you ask further on to make it better, then government could say, oh, we have already done something. Has to be, it's just be enough for you. So I think if you start not with a high enough unconditional basic income, you never get it.
Thank you, dear Klaus. Dear Maya, dear Ömer, Ian, Frui, Anthony, would you like to say anything? No. Okay. There is nothing in the chat box too, so if you agree, we can finish our labor of today. It was very interesting to hear dear Hyo-sang. Dear Hyo-sang, is it possible for you to share the PowerPoint pages? I mean, the slides.
Yeah, okay. I'll send it to you through email.
Yeah, maybe you can send to the big group so that everybody can receive it.
Okay.
It would be great. And okay, I have some thoughts to answer to Klaus, but I don't want to take a lot of time of yours. Or should I? It is technical at the end of the day. May I? Do we have a few more minutes? If you don't mind. Dear Klaus, I fully understand you. You want a UBI which should be adequate enough which should be adequate enough. But the thing is, after the implementation of UBI, the environment will change. I mean, the society will change. So there will be a more peaceful, more secure society, which means that it will lead to a bigger economy, and it will lead to too many positive issues. So based on these positive issues, for example, mental health or physical health, maybe the government will not spend that much money to the mental health problems or physical health problems. So there will be some savings. So I don't consider UBI as a fixed amount. I mean, I think it is a dynamic figure. And in the future, when the capabilities of the country or the state becomes more, then the UBI should be more too. Maybe if you say adequate amount, let's say adequate amount is 100. Why not 150? Maybe in 5 or 10 years, because this adequate amount will give will be distributed to the whole society, so it will lead to really a peaceful and secure and mentally and physically fit society. Then this society will develop more. If they are developing more, why should they still receive this adequate amount? Why not twice of this adequate amount, so that they can? I mean, the adequacy is also may vary within time. So my point is, if the mechanism is very well designed, if there is no, for example, in some cases, we see that there are some support to certain people, but the criteria is not that clear, and it's not that correctly distributed. So if it's not correctly distributed, then it's not good. But we should give the people that, okay, it is being correctly distributed based on your based on the individuals, to all individuals, but the amount is small at the moment, but it will be bigger. And how we can contribute to this? Okay, follow any corruption and fight with the corruption. Follow any wrong or meaningless expenditures. Also, for example, how do you call it in English? Out of the record economy. I mean, there's a huge number of people who earn their life, but they don't pay any tax. So if people understand that when such people pay more tax, then they will receive higher UBI, so they will support such things. For example, after every transaction, maybe they will try to receive a receipt. And I mean, that kind of thing. So my point is, they will support each other and develop each other, but the mechanism should be very well designed and should be welcomed by all citizens or all members of that society. That's what my point. I agree with you. The amount should be high, but to go to that level, maybe we should have something accelerator. I mean, the mechanism might be accelerating or contributing to reach to that level or even higher levels. Would you like to say anything? I mean, we have still time. We spent only 1 hour today.
I only want to make one statement. Step by step, introducing a higher UBI is, in our opinion, wrong. we have to do it immediately because the advantages from unconditional basic income is only given if it is high enough. Otherwise, it is not. And therefore, we are of the opinion you have to make a decision. We want to have it. And then you have perhaps 5 years time to make all details clear. And then to make it in one point in the whole country in one moment. Certainly the best in the whole Europe and so on. And so on. So we don't think step by step is possible. It's not a good idea. I think so.
Dear Klaus, another question is, do you think a basic income should be a fixed amount or should it be bigger in the future?
Certainly, each year, the GDP of each country has to be considered. And if, like in pension, each year the amount of the pension will be increased 1 or 2% and so on, certainly this also dynamic being more and more depends on each year. Then also the unconditional basic income high has to be increased.
Thank you, dear Klaus. Dear friends, we didn't hear any from Ian, Anthony, and Ömer and Fulu, but okay. So we can finish. Oh, please, Paul.
Yeah, I just want to ask Klaus the same question that I asked Hyo-sung. And I'm just wondering, let's say that your country, Austria, right, that was implemented as you say. In other words, it's a significant amount that covers the survival needs. Are you arguing, or how do you feel about the idea of giving up the minimum wage?
Can you repeat the last question? I have not understood.
How do you feel about giving up, eradicating the minimum wage?
Yes, that is in discussion because our union want to have it, and we want to have the union on our side, and therefore we would say in addition to our unconditional basic income, minimum wage should also be given.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, sorry, would you like to say it? We hear a kind of noise. I mean, it's not clear.
I'll forget it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's not working. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. Dear friends, thank you very much, dear Hyo-sung, and of course also your presence was very important. I learned a lot. Hope to see you in our next meeting. Thank you. Dear Eriko, maybe we can hear about Japan in our next 4th Tuesday meeting. What do you think?
I will try. I will try. I'm not so sure. I'm not so confident my English under these things, but I will try to speak something about UBI in Japan. Did you?
Next one will be 23rd of March. GMT 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm not academic person, so that's yes. Please understand that.
Okay, try something, or maybe you can find a friend of you. You can do together if you like. I mean, everything is welcome. But we would like to hear, I guess.
Yeah, okay, I will. I will do my best.
So I'm putting into the chat box, there are 2 meetings during the next month. Let me, 1 second. So 9th of March and 23rd of March.
Okay.
So if you think you can, with your friends, together with your friends, if you can tell something about the UBI movement in Japan, it will be great. Or Paul, maybe you would like to say something from Australia if Eriko needs more time. But what do you think? Eriko, if you can, if you like, you can do it in April and we can receive contribution from Paul. I mean, dear Paul, would you like to?
I think Eric. Oh, look, I'd love to hear from Erica. I would. So hopefully, would you have enough time, Erica? Or
I don't need a long time. I mean, perhaps 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, 30 minutes is good.
Yeah.
I know that you have more than 1 networks. May I share something in the screen? 1 second. 1 second. UBI add. 1 second, dear friends. Dear Erika, from Japan, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 networks.
Yes. Just yes. Today I advertised about this meeting. I want other people to join me, but no reaction. I think English is really, I mean, problem. But I can hear. Anyway, I will speak about what I know, what happened in Japan about UBI.
Dear Eriko, for example, personally, my English is not good too, but the technical details from different countries is very beneficial and inspiring to me, also to others.
Perhaps I'd like to share the problem I think we have in Japan, difficulty about this UBI movement, something like that. So you can help me what to do.
Dear Eriko, let's do it like this. On 23rd of March, we will hear news from UBI movement in Japan.
Yes, 23rd of March. Yes, I will.
23rd.
23rd of March.
Yeah, and please invite the other networks too. Maybe you can organize a kind of.
I want them, but the difficulty is English.
No problem, no problem.
If it were in Japanese, more people would join. But anyway, I speak to others as well. Try to get some more people, but I don't think I can make it. But I will try.
Very kind of you. It will be very interesting. Dear Paul, do you think we can do something with Australia in April? No, to dear Paul Rose.
sorry, what was that?
Can we hear from you regarding UBI movement in Australia, let's say in April, in the 4th Tuesday of April?
Yes,
it will
certainly.
Be, let me check the date. April 27th of April.
Okay, fine. Thanks very much.
Again, GMT 8 o'clock. I mean, 27th of April. 1 second. April GMT 8. Australia. (23rd of March), Japan. That will be great. If you would like to save the chat, so I'm putting this there. And Ayn is with us. Dear Ayn, can we hear you? Ian Middleton? From New Zealand, if I'm not mistaken.
Hello.
Hello, how are you? Nice to see you. Long time no see.
Yeah.
Dear Ian, what do you think? For example, in March, we will hear from Japan. In April, we will hear from Australia. March, April, May. In May, do you think you can tell what's the current status of the UBI movement in New Zealand?
Well, it's a possibility, but I won't give a commitment at this stage.
Okay. Okay. But please think about it. It's 25th of May.
Yeah.
I will put a question mark next to it.
Okay.
Okay, it will be great. Thank you very much, dear friends. Hope to see you in our future meetings. Thank you very much.
Thank you.